I think just the exciting thing was not really knowing. It was like kind of discovering what the next step was going to be for her, and talking to Garth for the first time and understanding where the character's trajectory was headed. And, I think Ash in the first film, she's, got this kind of like deadbeat relationship she's in with this kind of jerky guy, and it's a crutch she uses, I think, to like almost not share her gift. I think she's like living in the shadow of this guy, and when she finally dumps him and she realizes like, wow, I actually deserve a seat at the table. She discovers her own self-worth. And in this film, she uses that experience to help another character discover or rediscover their voice and move through a really difficult moment in their life, and start to kind of take a step forward out of a place that feels hopeless. And I think it's just a very inspiring character arc that she uses her experience to then help another person, because she knows what it's like to be stuck in something. And I think that's very admirable. Ash, I think it's a kind of experience I think that a lot of young people go through, where they, feel like they kind of need the validation of somebody else to feel like they're worth something. And, I think life teaches you that, you are your own best advocate, and that you have to, if you don't like believe in yourself, like how, like you can't, how do you like believe in anything else? It's really, really important to go on that kind of journey of self-discovery on your own. Like you have to, it starts with you. And I think Ash has that experience in Sing, and we get to see her go through this transformative process. I think it's very inspiring for a lot of young people, and even adults that are maybe still on their journey of self-discovery. I think Garth has such an boyish enthusiasm. I mean, he's just, firstly, like maybe the nicest person I think I've ever met, which I'm like waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, how can you actually be that nice? But he genuinely is, and he's just so emotionally available. And I mean, there's been plenty of times where we were recording and he got misty-eyed and wasn't afraid to let us all know that he was crying. And just, he's just a very real person. He's very unique and genuine, and very much himself. And I love that. I love working with other creative people that are also willing to show their soft underbelly, because like that's what I do in my job, and it to feel like my director is also right there with me, gives me the confidence to like let it all loose and let it all hang out and try new things. Definitely. I think, Garth really, I love that Ash has a very dry sense of humor, and she's sort of like a moody teenager, and Garth loves all of those little kind of quippy things and strange readings that are a little bit like off. And he loves to push that stuff, and I love to find it too. So, she's always like a little, like, she's a little sarcastic, and she'll be like, she's these little kind of like, sure, okay, these like little funny things that she does, like eye roll kind of sounds she makes. And it's fun to, like, Garth loves those and remembers them, and kind of encourages you to keep pushing those things, because I think that's what makes the characters all like, that's how they feel like individuals from one another. When I was recording Sing 2, we were still in lockdown, and I was in a really isolated place during the lockdown. So just being able to go to work and see Garth, even though it was through like a video chat, and be with an engineer, even though they were between like 5 layers of soundproof glass and whatever. It's still, I just, it was my only opportunity to really perform, and we were working on something that was coming out like in the future, and it felt hopeful, like we were still doing something that we would eventually all be together to enjoy. And it's just the fact that the film is coming out now when in fact everybody can get together and enjoy it in person is just like a wonderful timing. It just feels like the right movie right now. And it's going to be just such a delight to get to experience this film, particularly because it's so uplifting and so much about togetherness, actually together. The last holiday season was very uncertain and scary, and it just, and sad, and we were all kind of just trying to get through the time, and like trying to envision a brighter future. And that's that can be tough sometimes, like when you're in the thick of it. And I feel like this film is so much about overcoming hardship and challenges, and dreaming big. And it just feels like it's the perfect opportunity for everybody to get together and like have all the feels. I didn't actually know that I was going to be doing a duet with Bono exactly because it was so top secret whether or not he was able, going to do it, and would we get the song, and is he, at the time, like Garth told me that Bono was going to be, maybe doing it, but I was like sworn to secrecy, and so I couldn't say anything to anybody, even though I was exploding with the thought of the possibility of it happening, because my 13-year-old self was just like, oh my God, how is this real? And then, so I recorded it with Garth, and, we kind of talked about where the characters needed to go, and like what was, we kind of came up with this sort of very tender sort of rendition of it that really spoke to what the characters were experiencing. So I didn't even get to really hear our song, the duet with Bono, until not even that long ago. And I think because I was living in all this secrecy and everything, I didn't really have time to process it. And now I'm processing it because everybody's heard it, and I just can't believe that I'm sharing, like it's being shared with the world. It's very, very surreal, but it's awesome. Well, I haven't seen anything with an audience, and I saw a Broadway musical, which was crazy, and people were just like practically climbing on the stage. They were so excited. I cannot imagine seeing Sing 2 with an audience. It would be my first time back in the theater with everybody. I personally in Sing 1, by the time the third act happened, I was like just losing it. I was crying, I was cheering, I was like throwing popcorn in the air. My daughter was having her whole experience with the third act, like we were simultaneously freaking out. And so to now, like the movie there's so many more talents in this, even this time, like Pharrell and Halsey and Bono and like all these, it's leveled up in this way that's just, I think, like even somehow even more exciting and more like just the star power in it's like unimaginable. And it's just, and the songs are like so exciting and over the top and huge and like these massive anthems. It's like definitely going to be a very exciting night out, and it's so great that we can bring the whole family too, because I think my daughter loves this movie as much as my mom. And how many movies can you say that about? Ash is she's so headstrong, and she's, very much kind of herself, and so like I have no worry that she will, like, she's forging her own path and she stands on her own. You know, I'm happy to like carry the torch with her as long as I'm asked to, because she's just awesome. You know, and yeah, it's, you know, growing up, I had all those, like, for me, it was, you know, those Disney films that, you know, The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin, like those were the movies that I grew up with. And obviously the, you know, even older Disney animated films. You know, Sing was like my daughter. She doesn't remember a world before Sing, which is crazy. So just knowing that you're a part of someone's like whole childhood and beyond, and creating these like this kind of iconic moment for kids when they think about like some of the first memories they have is yeah, it's just wonderful, very, very special, and probably the only movie of mine that I can say that about, that my daughters can see at the current time.